tax the rich, feed the poor, till there are no rich no more. I'd love to change the world, but I don't know what to do. So I'll leave it up to you.
Exactly 3 years ago, I promised you a president who feels your pain and who shares your dreams. I want to talk to you about a fundamental threat to American democracy. For the first time in the history of our country, a majority of our people believe that the next 5 years will be worse than the past 5 years.
You know, it's happened again, man. Only worse.
John Brown, very important person in history. Important for only one episode. Failure in everything in life. Except he becomes the single most important factor, in my opinion, in bringing on the war. The militia system in the South, which had been a joke before then, becomes a viable instrument as the Southern militias begin to take a true form, and the South begins to worry about Northerners agitating the blacks to murder them in the beds.
It was the beginning of the Confederate Army.
April 11th, 1862. I firmly believe that before many centuries more, science will be the master of man. The engines he will have invented will be beyond his strength to control. Someday science shall have the existence of mankind in its power, and the human race commit suicide by blowing up the world. Henry Adams.
Okay.
Eyes hack election machines, those that are being used in many states but are not state of the art from our perspective.
Huh.
So if before
they hacked
you
right in front of her eyes.
I can relate. Not only did I get struck by lightning, but one time at the Delaware Beach House, after Hunter was there for the weekend, we had a bit of a plumbing backup in one of the bathrooms, and that toilet exploded. It was like, could only be compared to the mighty Mauna Loa volcano. And ever since then, I've had a great connection to the Hawaiian people.
You know, the bottom line here.
Whoa. Put on the brakes. Welcome, boys and girls, children of all ages. Hoofties, pufties, bun-eyed ebbers, right and left wing wackos, woodchucks and chuckettes, kings and queens of the Northeast Kingdom, to another version of It's News to Us.
And who are we and where are we?
Yeah, who are we? Where are we? And what's that guy doing in the booth?
Some old goat.
Yeah, you're watching It's News to Us. And it's Newport Shoulders TV News. Watch us now. Oh, is somebody going to be taping Bernie at 4 o'clock today?
Not that I know of.
He's going to be down at the friggin' Gateway at 4 p.m.
Oh, the message we got was he was supposed to be there yesterday.
I heard it was today. I saw it on the news.
No, I don't know.
He was in St. Jay earlier, and he's going to be there in about 45 minutes.
Well, I'll go tell Todd about it.
Yeah.
Because nobody notified us.
Yeah. Well, it's 2:45. Oh, it'd be an hour and 15 minutes. What am I saying? All right, and let's see. Defund the police? No. That's not working out so good for you jokers. You're all racist. If you want to put anyone in prison, you're racist.
Yep, that's true.
No. You know what? It doesn't matter. If you got a record priors and you go to and you hurt people, you go to the joint. It's just that simple. And all hail the cadaver in chief. He was in Maui. Say what?
Except in Burlington.
Yeah. Well, any place with these Soros prosecutors.
You You were saying about Maui.
Yeah, here's our senile agitation right here. This guy's friggin' toast. Yeah, it was on Meet the Press. It was a beautiful sunny Sunday. Now, and lightning came up behind this lake. I mean, a pond. It went through the wiring. No, the AC duct, the heating duct. No, and so it's like, wait a minute. How do you get lightning out of a clear blue sky? First of all, now, was it an AC duct or a wire? And it just burned the friggin' kitchen. It didn't put anyone in danger. I mean, I almost lost my cat and my Corvette. If I'd lost my Corvette, I wouldn't have had any place to store those documents I stole from the government.
Yep, that's probably true.
Crazy. And we're all inclusive here. We cater to men, women, everybody.
And especially men who want to play women's sports.
Oh, God. Well, it's funny. You know, that's why these voting machines have really. Philo put on a clip for me. Thanks. In the booth, we have Philo T. Farnsworth, College of Musical Knowledge. You can see his drum videos at Terry DeFazio. He was nice enough to put in a video, the tail end of which you can see it was Kamala Harris describing how on the Senate committee she was on, this guy had hacked a voting machine right in front of her. And Mike Lindell, the My Pillow guy, who they're all making fun of, oh, that guy's a liar, oh, Jesus, you. He's coming out with these machines that they're handing them out for all these different voting precincts and stuff for poll watchers. Mm-hmm. And the machines start beeping and honking or whatever if the voting machines access the internet, because they keep saying, oh no, these voting machines do not have access to the internet. They are not Wi-Fi. No. Well, yeah, we're going to find out this election. Now, see, in the old days, boys and girls, we used to have an election, we'd have it settled by 24 hours later, right? And usually the way it would run is people would get sick of the party in power and then vote the weasels out and vote in the other party. And it was always by a large margin. Remember, Terry?
Yeah, I remember the first one I remember Kennedy was the first one I remember, but LBJ blew out Goldwater. And then Nixon and Humphrey was a little closer, but they knew.
Yeah. Well, ever since we got these stupid electronic voting machines, it's always coming down to a real squeaker, and it seems like the friggin' Democrats or the liberals are the ones that are winning. Even though nobody likes their policies, I mean, they've ruined this country with inflation. They ruined it. Did anybody vote for men in women's locker rooms? I mean, we used to joke on the show when Trump was president, man, because remember the bathroom laws down in North Carolina?
Yep.
We used to joke on this show that Bathroom Billy wants to see your willy, you know? He was going to hang out outside the bathrooms in North Carolina and make sure you had a willy before you could go in the men's room. Well, you know, it was a joke, but now, look, the joke's on friggin' women, and nobody voted for that. They've ruined us with inflation. They've almost started World War III. They take no responsibility or do any corrective measures for that train derailment that they started on fire in Ohio or what was going on in Maui. We still don't know what the hell is. A lot of weird stuff there. But I got some news here that hadn't made the news. And then the Chinese, Biden's taking money from the Chinese, and it's obvious now. They got the receipts and they got the bank account numbers, Philo. Mm-hmm. He's going down, man. He's going to go down. It's just a matter of time. And the Chinese have been punking us since this guy got elected.
They were doing it way back. They've been doing it for a long time, but it's getting worse.
Yeah, well, since Trump got booted, they that stupid balloon it is balloon. They let Biden just let that thing float around gathering intel. And now we find out that, what was it, last week or week before, they gave our Treasury Secretary, crazy Aunt Daisy, dear Janet Yellen, the one with the Shemp haircut,
Really?
the Mo haircut rather.
Mo, okay.
Yeah, they gave her psilocybin mushrooms. Now, in any culture, what do they call that? When somebody doses you and you don't know what's coming or you don't want it, that's called poison. Mm-hmm. They poisoned her. They gave, Money Joe, you send over Treasury Secretary. we give her poison mushrooms, and you don't say nothing because we own Joe Biden. See, it's insane, man. It's insane, and there's a coming collapse too. There's a word for it. They're gonna call it a credit event. Chinese are in big trouble. They're down there dicking around with the South Africa with this new currency today, but it's only a matter of time, because you think we're overextended. Oh man, these people are overextended, and they can't even grow their own food, and they don't have any oil or gas, so they're screwed. You gotta brace yourself for a friggin', they're gonna call it a global credit event. And it's just a matter of time. And what else? So they dose crazy Aunt Daisy. Okay. And flying, when you put your life in your hands every time you fly, they had 46 close calls just last week at airports, Philo. And most all of them, like 95% of them, involved human error. That's kosher, right?
Cancel culture is good.
Yeah, oh yeah. We can't do it. We need more minority pilots, Philo. We don't care if they can fly or not.
And
it's all about equity.
And your air traffic controllers, of course.
Oh yeah.
Who is that batwanger that has all these medals on her, him, it, she?
Oh, that's the friggin' Surgeon General or whatever.
Yes, I'm trying to think of who that is.
Yeah.
I'm saying, my goodness.
Richard Levine.
Is it?
Well, she calls herself Rachel Levine now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and during the pandemic, when she said it was okay to, for old people to return to nursing homes, she pulled her parents. It pulled its parents out of a nursing home in Pennsylvania and put them in a private home. Yeah,
I read something encouraging today, Steve. Oregon's going to go back to masking.
They're crazy.
Yeah. I would not live anywhere on the West Coast.
Count on it. I'm telling you, count on it. They're getting weirder. What in the hell?
And Bill Gates is already telling us to prepare for the next pandemic.
Yeah, well, screw Bill Gates. We will not comply. They're talking about new mandates, new lockdowns, Philo.
Yep, I know.
And according to the UN and your buddy Klaus Schwab there, or whatever his name is.
Yeah, Klaus Schwab, that's right.
Yeah, World Economic Forum.
Yeah, he's the one.
They're even touting no elections now. Because get this, they tried to get the public against Trump, saying, he was ahead of this insurrection. He almost ruined the Capitol, right? And people are like, F you. We've seen the footage. He didn't do squat. We had a couple rowdies. God knows who they were, if they were Black Bloc, if they were planted in the crowd, whatever. So they tried that. That didn't work. So then they indicted him. Every time something bad came out about Biden and his kid, grabbing cash with both hands while he was vice president. They come out with another indictment against Trump. Look over there, squirrel, squirrel, and sure enough, man. So that didn't stick. So now their latest thing is the 14th Amendment. Well, two things. The 14th Amendment. Well, where they said if you worked an insurrection against the government or the Union, is what the 14th Amendment says, against the Union. This goes back to the Civil War. Nobody's ever been disqualified because of this law since the 1870s, Philo. So they're trying that.
It's about time that they use the damn law since it's been there so long.
Yeah, damn it, use it or lose it. So,
folks, things are getting sillier here today.
So that didn't work, okay? That didn't work. So now the Atlantic, I was going to tell Todd this because the Atlantic magazine is run by Mrs. Steve Jobs, right? The Atlantic and the New York Times, they're floating a new idea. In order to save democracy, we got to get rid of elections because they think that the American people are too stupid and they're too easily swayed that they'll vote for the wrong people like Trump.
Well, didn't at one time didn't they have IQ tests or something for voters
in different states? You're right, and poll taxes too. Yep.
Yeah. Because the people couldn't be trusted to elect the right person.
Yeah.
But guess what, folks? We've never elected the right person, ever.
Yeah. And we get what we deserve. And I'm telling you what, man, there's only one, like I said, there's only one person in my mind who's going to go down there and kick ass on the first day one. And it's not Chris Christie, okay?
Yeah, but he's got a bigger butt than anybody.
It's not Mike Pence, the man from GLAAD. No.
Because I thought Al Gore was stiff. He's even stiffer.
Oh man, yeah, he's stiff as a new broom. So they're talking about now they've changed it to Agenda 2030. They want no elections. They want new mandates and lockdowns. They're going to be pushing masks again, and contract tracing and more censorship. Well, it's got to stop, man. It's got to stop because these courts the cases have gone to the Supreme Court, and they're saying, look, you can't censor.
I saw something in the paper yesterday, and I'll be a son of a gun. I wish I'd have clipped it out. There's the Association of Sheriffs in Texas. No, it's Michigan. And they're saying that they can refuse to enforce any of these laws that go against the Constitution and the people. I wish I'd have clipped it out. It was a great article.
You know what they're called, Philo?
What's that?
Oath keepers.
No, it's not. It's somebody different. It's an association of sheriffs.
Yeah. I know, but that's the whole idea of the oath keepers was that they would honor their oath. That they would not enforce any law that was contrary to the Constitution.
Well, anyways, it's gaining traction.
Yeah, I hope so. And see, here's the thing: the reason that these people are down at the BRICS countries are down in South Africa right now. And meanwhile, I read an article. I think it's in this week's paper of the Epoch Times about South Africans. The South Africans are leaving in droves, the white ones. South African farmers, doctors, lawyers, any professionals. They can't keep the lights on. It's crazy. So anyways, the reason the BRICS countries are trying to create their own currency is because we created the SWIFT system. Because we don't like what some country does, we put sanctions on them, right, Philo?
Oh yeah, like the one we've had against Cuba since 1960.
Yeah, that worked out great. And Russia, and now the one against Russia too, that doubled their friggin' ruble value.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this SWIFT program, and it's not so swift after all, and we're cutting our own throats because it's going to send all these dollars right home to us. And so man, in this uniparty, the Klaus Schwab and all these people, Sequoia. That's what scares me about Ron DeSantis, because his backers are in with Sequoia and all these other funds, these global funds, man, and
he was the first one to stand up to the federal government about their mandates, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He was the first one.
In that Surgeon General of Florida, that guy's insane. He's great. Dr. Ladapo.
Oh, wow.
Ladapo, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So, let's see. Oh, this D.C. judge, Tanya Shutkin. She's the one that's one of these ones that's nipping at Trump's heels on January 6th people. She jailed them without recommendation. Did nothing against the BLM rioters that tore the capital city apart. Her and her hubby were appointed by Obama both at once, and she's threatening Trump with a protective order against if he criticized her, and she had upped the trial date. And Alan Dershowitz was on, the professor from Harvard. He's ultra liberal, right?
No, quite the opposite.
Well, no, he's like us. He's a liberal, but he believes in the traditional liberal values.
Probably yes.
Yeah, his latest book is called Get Trump. It's crazy. There's poor Mackie there.
I have one of his old books, by the way. You might like it. It's called The Abuse Excuse.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
So anyways, this judge, she threatened Trump and said she had upped the trial date, which means he wouldn't have time to prepare for his trial, which is, it's not only unconstitutional, it violates like every damn rule. These people are insane, Philo. They're insane.
Yeah, I don't trust our government at all.
And I saw this interview with a girl from Maui. Her name's Sheila Walker, right? And she says if you want to give money to go to the people on Maui, go to the Cavalry Church of Maui. The website's called cavalrymaui.com or the mauifoodbank.org. You can see her website at votesheilawalker.com. But she said that 2 days before the fire, they had like this smog. They call it VOG, like when a volcano is spewing crap and it just hangs around the island. They call it VOG and smog.
I can understand that if it's volcanic ash. Yeah.
Yeah, it comes from the Big Island because there's no active volcano on Maui. So that was 2 days beforehand, and 2 days beforehand also there was no power, no cell phone, what do you call it, reception.
Cell service, right?
Yeah, and no water. But Maui, it's a one party island. They love their Democrats until now. I can guarantee you there's one island that probably ain't going to be voting Democrat in the next election. And it's crazy, man. It's just
I think the only thing that's going to save this country is if we keep the presidency and the houses all split into different parties, and that way nobody can get a majority to screw us. Like here in Vermont, where they have a super majority.
Yeah, it's crazy. All I can do is raise taxes over and over again. That's their answer to everything.
Yep.
Oh, and now we find out that another thing, the Biden had secret email accounts, Philo.
Really? I got one too.
When he was for burner phones, he had him and Hunter both had which is against government rules also. It's crazy, man. It's just crazy. Yeah. Biden has taken away Trump's attorney-client privilege. He can't do that, but he did. He seized his Twitter account using the 1871 KKK laws and the Enron laws and the 1917 Espionage Act. He pulled Trump's executive privilege, which is, you can't do that either. He doesn't have the power to do that. And it's crazy. And all these leaks, there's been over 40 leaks from the grand jury and you know, that are after Trump. 40 leaks to the press, and they're coming from the damn grand jury, which is highly illegal.
Mm-hmm.
It's nuts, man. They promised 40 of them, over 40, in the last 6 months. They promised this guy a judgeship to this attorney if he got his client to flip on Trump and lie on his behalf. And the January 6th committee, that so-called committee under Pelosi, it lost thousands of documents. It's nuts, man. It's just nuts. It's crazy. And here we are right here. Here's a good one for all you wingnuts out there. The kids who believe in this global warming cult. Princeton, MIT scientists say EPA climate regulations are based on a hoax. And you can find this, as usual, at the Epoch Times, epoch.com. And it's a great newspaper, long-form articles. Citing extensive data to support their case, William Happer, Professor Emeritus of Physics at Princeton, and Richard Lindzen, Professor Emeritus of Atmospheric Science at MIT. That's just a punk degree, right, Philo?
I know. They don't know nothing.
Yeah. Argued that the claims used by the EPA to justify new regulations aren't based on scientific facts, but political opinions and speculative models that have consistently proven to be wrong. The unscientific method of analysis, relying on consensus, peer review, government opinion, models that do not work, cherry-picking data, and omitting voluminous contradictory data is commonly employed in these studies and by the EPA in the proposed rule.
Well, you know what's so sad about this, Steve? It's not that anybody's looking at this objectively. What they're trying to do is say there is no climate change or it's all our fault. Rather than looking at the fact that we are on a big rocks hurling through space, being affected by a lot of stuff, you know?
Yeah, oh yeah.
We can't even think about that. Oh no.
Let's see. None of the studies provide scientific knowledge, and thus none provides any scientific support for the proposed CO2 rule. All of the models that predict catastrophic global warming fail in the key test of the scientific method. They grossly overpredict the warming versus the actual data. The scientific method proves there is no risk that fossil fuels and carbon dioxide will cause catastrophic warming and extreme weather. The models, such as the ones the EPA has been using, consistently wrong for decades in predicting actual outcomes. Remember Al Gore said where Arctic was going to be ice-free by the year 2000?
Oh, it was within 10 years, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the acid rain was going to kill something or other in 10 years. And, you know.
Yeah. To illustrate his point, he presented the EPA with a table showing the difference between the model's predictions and the observed data. That was already an embarrassment in the 90s when I was director of energy research at the Department of Energy, he said. I was funding a lot of this work, and I knew very well then that the models were over-predicting the warming by a huge amount. He and his colleagues argued that the EPA has grossly overstated the harm and ignoring the benefits of CO2 to life on Earth, because every friggin' plant out there is taking in CO2, and the more CO2, the better it is for plants. And they put out oxygen for us. It's kind of a mutual thing, you know?
Yeah, it's good to have some trees around, isn't it?
Yeah. You go down to friggin' New Mexico or Nevada and see how you like it.
Breathing a cactus plant.
Yeah, that's all you get. You get a cactus in your front yard, if you're lucky. However, Happer and Liz took a different tack, arguing that because the EPA regulations are arbitrary and capricious, they fail a test laid out in the motor vehicle manufacturers versus State Farm case. Time and again, courts have applied State Farm case principles to invalidate agency rules where the agency failed to consider an important aspect of the problem or cherry-picked data to support a preordained conclusion. You can read the rest of it. It's great. But these guys are good, and they got good lawyers, too. Oh, man. Oh, shit, I forgot the Maui pictures again. Damn it.
Oh, well. That's the way it goes.
I took all these Maui pictures, and I got pictures of the dump at Maui. I got pictures of the power plant and the airport. Oh, man. And of the rainforest, too. Okay. Oh, here's a timeline. This is insane. You know, this is where Big Fannie Willis is going to have a hard time with this stupid case against Trump. Could you imagine if our little whiz-ant prosecutor up here in Newport Philo had a Woody for President Biden and said, you know, I'm going to indict President Biden, you know? And
well, they'd have to find out what planet he's on first.
Yeah.
Wouldn't they?
But I mean, this is insane that Big Fannie Willis in Atlanta, you know, I mean, this has got to stop. This is insane.
No, you know, they got to have their 15 minutes of fame here.
Yeah, well, it's ruining the country, and it's making them stronger and stronger. That's all I can say. Here we are, 2020, the timeline, March 14th. The state's primary election, supposed to be held on March 24th, is moved to May 19th. In-person early voting, which began on March 2nd, was halted. Officials cited concerns over surging cases of COVID as the reason for the changes. However, at the time, Georgia had only 66 confirmed COVID cases. The election would later be postponed till June 9th. And it goes on and on like this, man.
They're pushing another vaccine, you know, for the, was it EM5 something or other?
Oh, yeah, good luck with that. Good luck with that, that's all I can say. And people have had it, man. Anyways, let's see, what do we got? Here we are.
With the exception of New England and the far west, everyone's had it with this COVID business. But you know what? You've got enough snowflakes around that still make life difficult.
Yeah.
Oh, here's another good one for you I read. Southern states' economy is booming. Boston and New York are bleeding a lot of money. They're losing money like crazy with their wokeness.
Yep. And they're taking in they're taking in all these friggin' border jumper wetbacks, and except on Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah, I know. They wanted them. They can have them.
Yeah. You show up on the vineyard, mister, man, they'll send the National Guard right over to bring your ass right back to the Cape, mister. Within, 48 hours. Gave them big hugs, lunch boxes full of sandwiches from Delmonico's or whatever, and, you know, and off they went. Anyways, yeah, people on Maui distrust the government. I wonder why, Philo? But they're solidly democratic. Yipper. Let's see. The government they put in was white supremacy centered from the assimilation and possession of our land, he has said. The government we had are offshoots of that. Hawaii, jeez, lost its reigning queen in 1893 to a government of non-native businessmen, plantation owners, and politicians. Oh, yeah. These people, It's going to be slow to rebuild, yada yada. Let's see. Trust in government Hawaii is not particularly high. There's a unique core distrust. The island's changed history. Collins, he points out other incidents that have led to the lack of faith, including a mistaken alert in 2018 that led residents to believe they were going to be hit by a North Korean missile, or the mismanaged rail project on Oahu that is 10 years late in opening and took extra billions to build. Yeah, just like the one in California. Remember, we're going to put in a high-speed train from LA to San Francisco. Whoops, maybe not. Yep, can't do it. No, we've got too many environmental impact statements and permits.
But they're gonna be, was it gasoline free?
Yeah, yeah.
But they can't supply the power now.
Oh, yeah. It's crazy. Hawaii is also known to have notoriously apathetic voters, some of the lowest voter turnout in the country since the early 2000s. I'm thinking that might change. Let's see. And it gets even weirder, Philo. These people are pagans. Did you know that?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I don't care. Worship whatever they want.
Yeah, I mean, good for them. You worship but when you shut off the water because of the water gods, and then you got a fire to control, by the time you get somebody to turn the water back on, it could be too late, if you know what I mean.
I think that there are a lot of pagans around that don't admit it. And the reason I say that is because every time we have a nice day in the winter or the spring or whatever, I always hear this. We'll pay for that later. It's almost like the god of weather is going to punish us, or the goddess of weather, right?
Yeah.
There must be a lot of pagans around here that I don't know about.
Everybody complains about the weather. Nobody ever does anything. Yeah, 800 still missing? What? Where's the kids, man? They dismissed the kids from school when there's no cell phone service. And now like they're incinerated, and you can't even find them. Their ashes just get blown away. When you have fires that hot, Philo, you know what happens? There's no dental left. Your teeth pop like like popcorn.
Yep.
It's crazy. Maui authorities have opted not to publicize the list of the missing because it's unclear whether privacy rules would prevent them from doing so, said Adam Weintraub, an Irishman.
Another one.
A spokesman for the Hawaii Emergency Management Agency. There's also concerns about further traumatizing families of those now listed as missing, but may turn out to be dead. As of Monday, there are 115 confirmed dead, and yet there's still 800 supposedly missing. This is crazy, man. Let's see. The names of any information will not be published and made publicly available, said a Maui County spokesperson. Governor Josh Green said Sunday on CBS News Face the Nation that more than 1,000 remained unaccounted for. Maui Mayor said the pre-recorded video, the number was 850. White House Homeland Security Advisor Liz Sherwood-Randall put it between 500 and 800. What? It's crazy.
Yeah.
American Red Cross has completed roughly 2,400 requests seeking reunification. But here we are. Social outreach like this will be crucial, as identifying human remains after wildfires can be arduous, lengthy process. Fire experts say it's possible some bodies were completely cremated, meaning there may be no bones left to identify through DNA tests. Yeah, you think?
Yep, got it.
Those are easy when the destruction is modest, said Vito Babrauskas.
What?
Yeah, Vyto. Vito Babrauskas, president of Fire Safety Research.
Now that sounds Chinese to me.
If you go to the extreme of things, if turned to ash, you're not going to be able to identify anything.
That's right.
Yeah, that's what we're finding out. Bobrovskis said that damage from the debris removal and excavation can make a recovery more efforts difficult too. Exactly. The wind blows, you get rain on the island, man. I mean, it's rare on the windward side of the island. On the leeward side, you get plenty of rain, but on the wind will just blow the ashes away, and there's nothing left. They're gone.
That's right.
Oh, jeez. It's crazy, man. It's crazy, and it's getting crazier. And it's like, why were the sirens shut off? Why was the water cut off? And you know, they barely ask these questions. It's like, what the hell, man? I don't get it. And it's way at the back of the articles always. Let's see, the cause of the wildfires, some of which are still burning, is still under investigation. Hawaii Electric President CEO Shili Kimura said many factors go into a decision to cut power, including the impact on people who rely on specialized medical equipment and concerns that a shutoff in the fire area would knock out water pumps. But Police Chief John Pelletier renewed an appeal for families to provide DNA samples. Morgue units, blah, blah, blah. When the bodies are smaller, we know it's a child. Oh, you think? Describes some of the sites being searched as too much to share or see from just a human perspective. Let's see. They're collecting stories from, this is what it looked like. Fire everywhere, dead people. It's crazy, man. You got a friggin' siren system there for a reason, and they didn't use it. They didn't use it. Oh, we were scared it would send people. It would send people up into the, into the right back into the fire. Oh, here we are, Atlanta. Georgia cases size an issue for both sides. Well, you think? I think Fannie Willis is bitten off more than she could Fannie chew. Because she's got, did you know that the jail is like half of the people in their jail they haven't even like been arraigned yet, Philo?
Yep.
They're still being held. They haven't even been charged or given trial dates or nothing. Or bail, which is the opposite of snowflake cities like New York and stuff. It's crazy.
I was noticing that DNA testing in some of these southern states is very, very, very slow, whereas New York is right on it really quick.
Yeah. And we're not to, that was the first thing Biden did when he got elected president was he stopped the DNA testing of people bringing kids over the border.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Absolutely
I wonder why
stupid.
They're not going after human trafficking.
Nope.
Let's see. Trying the ex-president plus 18 others will be taxing. Oh, you think? Let's see. As an assistant DA, she used the racketeering law to successfully prosecute Atlanta public school educators or teachers in a test cheating scandal. But in one of her current cases involving the rapper Young Thug, jury selection began in January and is still going on more than 7 months later. That's just jury selection for one rapper.
Who's probably, I've never even heard of that one.
Young Thug. He's got a good name, I'll give him that.
You haven't seen anything like 6IXI9?
Yeah.
You ever seen that guy?
Yeah, the Democrats and the Fulton County DA are criminalizing the practice of law, said lawyer Jenna Ellis wrote on Tuesday. Would demonstrate irrefutable election fraud in Georgia, and I've shown you just some of that. I could go on. There's 2 pages in the Epic Times about anomalies, election law anomalies. Let me get to a good one here. Yeah. And this was November 3rd. in Fulton County, report of a broken water pipe. Remember that in Atlanta? The broken water pipe, Philo?
Yep.
Caused a delay in processing absentee by mail ballots. A month later, they found that the water leak came from an overflowing urinal on the floor above, and that happened in the morning, many hours before the observers said they were told to leave the arena. People questioned why such a minor issue was misreported, and then was used to justify shutting down the vote counting. Some theorized the broken pipe report might have been used as an excuse to halt the vote counting. Let's see. David Schaefer, head of the state Republican, later said the surveillance video footage showed that workers continued counting ballots until 1 a.m. According to source statements, poll observers later gave an account. At 10:30, a woman, a supervisor, shouted for all employees to stop counting ballots and return the following morning. Nearly all of them left, yet David Schaefer would later say that surveillance video footage showed that they kept counting ballots until 1 a.m. in secret, with no observers present. Officials, however, insisted that the video doesn't show any fraud. I could go on, okay? I could go on and on and on. And they're saying, no, there was no fraud. It was the cleanest election ever.
Well, you know how it goes. I mean, the Democrats claimed that the Russians interfered with 2016, and now we've got, the Republicans claiming that this was fraud, and it's like, you're never going to get a clean election anymore. You can't.
Especially not with the machines, and not when you've got boxes full of ballots that aren't even folded, and they don't check the signature verifications.
Yep.
The signatures are supposed to match the ones you got on file. It's just that simple.
Yep. I've given up in the election process. Totally
Crazy.
given up.
Well, let's see. Yada, yada, yada. Spoke on condition of anonymity. Yeah, let's see. A lot of these are not necessarily crimes. Oh, you think? Not necessarily crimes.
That
Of
reminded me of
course.
an old show on Showtime called Not Necessarily the News. It was kind of funny.
Yeah. Oh, Dave Attell had a good show. I ran into some episodes on YouTube. Dave Attell's show, Insomniac.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, kick the Sandman in the sack, stay up late, Insomniac. Oh yeah, and here, and what is our lieutenant governor doing, Philo?
He's Zuckerberging.
Yo, he's reading books that were banned in other states. What the hell has this got to do with Vermont? You know what I mean? What?
I would give our government in Montpelier credit for one thing. Remember a while ago, I don't remember exactly when it was, but they were checking up on everybody's reading materials.
Yeah.
And Vermont said, no, you will not access everybody's library cards.
Yeah, that was Homeland Security, yeah.
Yeah, everybody was checking up on, what are they reading? Well, you and I would have been arrested for reading Communist Manifesto, I guess.
Yeah, and searches at the libraries, too.
Yep.
Let's see. Where are we? Banned books, here we are. Zuckerman was joined by 3 Vermont authors. Each read segments from other banned books, including Monster and Where the Wild Things Are by Maurice Sendak, which was pulled off some shelves when it first came out in '63. I was a kid. I had a copy of that book. It was about a kid with monsters under his bed or something. They were all big and hairy and funny. Kind of like Hell's Angels.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. They don't mention any of the graphic novels, with the agony all on that friggin' X-rated ones. Oh no, we won't mention those. Oh, here we are. This kills me too. They're just coming out and saying, "Oh yeah, lies. Oh, the Maui water is unsafe, even with filters." What? Wait a minute. No, they have filters for that. And look at this, front page. I can't believe this. It's not like mistruths or allegations no. Trump allies repeat election lies. What? Thanks, Philo. Repeat election lies. Oh, okay. So Biden's lies are okay. Like the one he had with his kitchen almost burnt down with his wife in the house. Yeah. But Nicholas Riccardi and David Klepper from the AP, a federal indictment, one in Georgia, charging Trump with lying on the election. You know, there's nothing, politicians can lie, I can lie right here. That's not my bud, those aren't my dogs, and that was not crispy. Let's see.
2 of which are gone now.
Yeah. President Joe Biden's win had nothing to slow the geyser of election falsehood showing the former president and his supporters flowing from. Just 2 days after the Georgia indictment, one of Trump's most enthusiastic backers took the stage at a conference in Missouri to again spread election misinformation. Mike Lindell, the owner of MyPillow and a vocal purporter of the myth that the 2020 election was stolen, kicked off an event on purported election crimes with a video about fraud. You should see the one 2,000 Mules. That's insane. Where they did the cell phone data of all these kids that got paid to drop off ballots. And you see the same ones, man. And they even have to take pictures with their cell phones so that they can get paid for dropping off the ballots. 2:30 a.m., 3:30 a.m. It's nuts, man. I'm going to see if I can get permission to run it on the green screen.
Hey, why not?
Oh, man.
We'll run anything on that green screen.
Yeah. Evidence of Ruby Freeman, the one who pulled the election ballots out from under her desk. Oh, that was completely normal. But they didn't mention anything about, the broken water pipe that wasn't broken. Oh, no. Let's see. Biden compared to drug dealers and dealt dudes with threats. The women testified before a congressional January 6th committee about their ordeal and sued several Trump backers for libel. An AP poll last week found 57% of Republicans say they didn't view Biden as legitimately elected president. Because the guy just sat in his basement. He didn't go anywhere. When he went out, he was lucky there was like 2 or 3 circles, remember? To talk to crowds, and there wouldn't be any crowds. There was no press. And meanwhile, Trump was going in front of stadiums full of people, and they were saying, geez, that's a super spreader event.
Yeah, and you know what else, too? It got me was Bernie Sanders riddled Biden with all of his lies.
Yeah.
And they whitewashed the whole thing over.
Yeah.
Whitewashed it all over.
Yeah, Bernie really flamed him good, man. The 98-page Georgia indictment lists several false allegations made by Trump that were quickly disproved by fellow Republicans. Oh, yeah, they're not the Uniparty. They're not part of Klaus Schwab's and George Soros's payroll people. Not at all.
Both parties are beholden to that guy.
Yeah. Let's see. Trump will need to convince some of these voters if he's going to return to the White House. Well, it won't be that hard if they keep it up with inflation, drag queens in schools, censoring stuff, using the FBI like the Stasi or the KGB. Come on, man. People are getting sick of it. These people are friggin', it's nuts, man.
Okay, Steve, you got last but not least.
Oh, God almighty. Look at all those I didn't get to. Damn. Oh, well, here we are.
Too much fun.
1587 was the first time we had VD in America, Philo.
1587?
Yeah. VD. There were initials for Virginia Dare. She was the first child of English parents to be born on what is now Roanoke Island in North Carolina. Oh, well, here we are. All right, last but not least. Trump lies test the limits of the bully pulpit. Well, like I said, man, Andy Jackson, Teddy Roosevelt, there he is right there. Once again, he wasted a perfectly good hour of your life working in a stupid show. And here's a good one, too. This is fish food. Ben and Jerry's ice cream, Philo, and they got a picture of a cow wearing a dress with 2 drumsticks. I brought it in for you. Because that was, remember John Fishman? He used to wear a muumuu when he'd play with fish.
I never saw them.
I did. So hopefully we'll see you again next week, inshallah. Until then, get down on, good Lord, you get down on your hands and knees, worship the rock in Mecca, and head east and sniff the bum of the guy in the man dressed in front of you and say, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Akbar.
And of course, a happy Deus Magnus Est to one and all.
I gotta tell you.
Exactly 3 years ago, I promised you a president who feels your pain and who shares your dreams. I want to talk to you about a fundamental threat to American democracy. For the first time in the history of our country, a majority of our people believe that the next 5 years will be worse than the past 5 years.
You know, it's happened again, man. Only worse.
John Brown, very important person in history. Important for only one episode. Failure in everything in life. Except he becomes the single most important factor, in my opinion, in bringing on the war. The militia system in the South, which had been a joke before then, becomes a viable instrument as the Southern militias begin to take a true form, and the South begins to worry about Northerners agitating the blacks to murder them in the beds.
It was the beginning of the Confederate Army.
April 11th, 1862. I firmly believe that before many centuries more, science will be the master of man. The engines he will have invented will be beyond his strength to control. Someday science shall have the existence of mankind in its power, and the human race commit suicide by blowing up the world. Henry Adams.
Okay.
Our eyes hacked election machines, those that are being used in many states but are not state of the art from our perspective.
Huh.
So if before
They hacked right in front of her eyes.
out there attack my friend Mike Lindell.
I can relate. Not only did I get struck by lightning, but one time at the Delaware Beach House, after Hunter was there for the weekend, we had a bit of a plumbing backup in one of the bathrooms, and that toilet exploded. It was like, could only be compared to the mighty Mauna Loa volcano. And ever since then, I've had a great connection to the Hawaiian people.
You know, the bottom line here.
Bees make honey, each Monday morning. I love to change the world, but I don't know what to do. So I